All right, we are now live on Chat with Kat. I've got an amazing individual today who is going to help us build up our confidence. And I just learned this that she is a former U.S. Navy, like amazing. Her name is Jessica Belle.
Yes.
Wait, is that your actual last name, Belle?
Yes, Belle is my actual last name. Yes.
I love that. SJ Belle is what she goes by online. But Jessica, you have some amazing confidence that I would love to just steal or borrow someday. I love watching your videos where you're just like dancing, like no one is watching, and it's just so free. And I just love that vibe that you give off. Like,
Yes.
how did you gain this confidence? Were you always like this, or did something happen? Was it just forced into you through the Navy? Like, where
Now in
start?
being structured in the military, because I am SJ Belle. I'm a mother of three. I am a former Navy veteran. I also have a master's in human development and leadership. And for so long, I didn't want to tap into that. I didn't want to bring out the degrees. I had the structure. I didn't want to lead anymore. I just wanted to be a mom, be a wife. Well, life happens. I got a divorce, and during the midst of that divorce, I realized something about myself. It's time for you to make that step, to tap into my own power that I always have, because people always said, you have it. You give us so much inspiration, but you're not utilizing it in your life. And I had to realize that I'm not. So I started taking videos of myself, pictures, just for my own private viewing of seeing what it is that I do. And I would transform and I would see it, but I would also see that light. And when I did so, it helped me get through the hard times of my divorce, understanding who I was at 35 and now I'm 38 as a woman coming into blossoming and growing. And I just tapped into it. And other women started to follow. You are my favorite human. I love to see how transparent you are. You go from mom mode to like this fierceness, and they love to be able to see that glow. And so I started to just utilize it. Then I started to look at the degree and all of the knowledge and all of the education that I actually have. How can we join that as one? How can you inspire and lead with it all? Having the whole component of everything. Confidence is not something most people think, oh, I can just put on some lipstick. They'll put that on and they have it. It's not beauty. That's not what it is. It's being able
to help. It helps a little bit.
It does help, but it's understanding your abilities, your skill set, what it is that you possess as a mom, as a woman, just a professional person in your personal life. And it does help. But if you're only fixing or working on the outer appearance and not the inner, it's not going to go. It's going to be a battle with itself. So yes, you can dress it up, but then in the inside, you're a mess. So I had to work from the inside out. I had the beauty all along. I just didn't have that confidence, that self-esteem in the inside to be able to say, can I actually do this as myself? Can I step outside of myself, open that box? And I did. And once I did, I started fixing me through the trauma, the struggles, everything. And once I started to do that, I started gaining something, self-happiness, something that I didn't have that other people may possess or they had, or I may seen or may have thought. And then once you start having that self-happiness, the outer part joins in. And then that's when you get that aura, you get that energy, and you go. And you just strut and showcase. Yes.
I love that. I love that. So what kind of tips do you have for somebody who, maybe are confident in their knowledge, but just not confident person? Like for me, I I don't know, a shy person. I still identify as a shy, quiet person.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get someone like that to kind of come out and be a little more outgoing, to come out of their shell and just be like, hey, let's start a chat show?
Is understand you are well, basically the first step that you're doing, you already put yourself out there. Now it's being more transparent with yourself, spending that time with yourself, learning you, be goofy. Turn on your own camera where it's just you. Understanding, your facial expressions, understanding your body, learning to play with emotions, dance. Understand, well, I can't move. Yes, you can. So if you start to do it in private by yourself, after all, you're just going to push that button and you're going to flow. Date yourself. Spend time with yourself. Getting to know yourself because, like you said, you're a busy mom and you have businesses, you have your family life. But we don't actually take the time out to know us as an individual, not as mom, not as a boss, not as a spouse, but yourself. Once you actually understand that, because like you said, normally we're on the go, always on the go, doing something for somebody else or getting, an event completed and everything. But we never sat down to spend time with us. Go in your closet, find something that just make like, I can't wear that out. Yes, you can. Put it on. Strut around in your room till you become comfortable with it. Take your pictures, understand the flow. Then one day you'll be able to walk out that door, sit at the table, order you a nice drink, a cup of coffee, have an interaction with your spouse. They're like, what got into her? Me. I gotten into me because you understand you're comfortable in your skin. A lot of times we're not. And for so long, I'll put on a cardigan and we'll button it all the way up. And you're just like, And then after a while, understanding the arms. That's why I work out, because I want to be comfortable with me. Every aspect, every dimple, every roll, every stretch mark, I love. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself, those affirmations of where I am beautiful. I am smart. I have to tell myself that when I was sick, because I was like, I'm just going to lay here and just go. I just didn't feel it. But then I was like, hold up. Wait a minute. You put on your best lippy lip. You put on your glasses and you smile and you just bring it all together. So the first step is getting to know you, understanding you, enjoy you, date you. People like, I don't go outside by myself. Yes, you can. Go to that. You can go to Olive Garden. You can go wherever it is. Have a nice salad. Have whatever it is. Get a piece of cheesecake. Sit there and indulge and be like, oh, really take in, those aspects of knowing you, because after a while, it's going to be you. Kids are going to be grown, have grandkids. Your spouse, they're going to still be doing their day to day. You're going to be in there like, man, you got to learn to enjoy yourself. So yes, that's the first step.
Okay. So know me
No,
and just celebrate me.
you
right?
have to. Yes, because oftentimes, even on your birthday, it's your day. Everybody else is celebrating you, but you got to learn to celebrate you outside of celebrations, holidays. Pick a day. It's Tuesday. Say it's Tuesday. We're going to have, lipstick Tuesday for myself. Put on 2 different shades. Take a picture. Do something different with your hair. That's why we go to the salons. That's why we have those chats with those women in the chair. They're like, to tap into all of that. Enjoy, just do a quick change up. People say you change your hair often, very often, because in the military, you always have to have a slick back and a ponytail. You can't have, piercings or show tattoos. And so now I get to play with hair. I love hair. I buy hair all the time. Hair is one of my most expensive things that I like to buy, but it gives me a different look. It makes me fierce. It just enhances whatever outfit I want to play with and put on and become. It gives you that illusion. It gives you that experience to be able to experience. You just have to know what fits you.
That's awesome. I love wigs. Actually, I've done. I've played with a few of them. I love it. I mean, I wish I could, put them on all the time, or even like just little hair extensions.
Little pieces,
like,
yes.
It's fun, right?
It's very fun to have fun, and a lot of people are afraid of what Susie's going to say. Who cares? Susie probably want to do it too, but she's just afraid to tap out. So just step into that. Most people are like, I love how you're just so open. You're so free. And I am, but for so long, I was not like that because I was used to structure. You have a government structure, a contract, which is on you, your life, your body, of what you can and cannot do. And then in marriage, it's always like that covenant of you can't do, but then things have changed. Yes, you can, long as it's in those lines and you still have those boundaries of understanding with your spouse things that you can and cannot do. That's okay to be able to have fun. Date your spouse. Create them kids going to bed. Create that mood. Light that candle. Bring out that wine. Get some water. Put on your fierce dress. Twirl around in the living room. You can do that. Most people are like, no, we can't. We're parents. Yes, you can. How you think they got here? So having that moment, that time, you still have to date in relationships. In friendships, you have to do the same thing. That's why we go to brunch. That's why we go to dinner. That's why we go shopping. That's why we have the conversation. You're still dating. You're still building on that friendship to make sure that all of the components are there. You're doing that in your marriage. You're doing it in there in your relationships. Why you're not doing it with yourself? You still got to build upon yourself because we're evolving. We're growing every single day. So yes.
I love that advice. Date yourself.
Date yourself.
Date yourself.
Yes.
That's a cool concept.
Oh yeah, you know, now that the kids are back at school, they're like, Mom, what did you do? I get to the point where I'm still hiding bags. I'm like, oh, no, nothing. I didn't. I just, you know, did laundry and I wrote a couple of things and then they're like, yeah, and then my daughter will find it. So you went shopping today, huh? And then she was like, did you get me something? You, as moms, we always pick them up something too, because we feel guilty if we don't. And then they like those little bitty surprises to be able, but they always tell me, my son, my oldest one, take time out for you, Mom. You always doing stuff for us. But you know, the biggest thing that I love to do once a week that most people may think is crazy. I take hot baths, 2 hours. That's me. My kids know if my bedroom door is closed and my bathroom door is closed and they hear music, because it's going to be bumping, because I do a whole singing thing in there. And you have your candles lit and I have water. I have my wine. Sometimes I take a book with me. I burn my candles with my incense. I just have a good time, a relaxation of unwinding, but it's also my creativity that is actually going during that time. Music is my inspiration. It's that's how I gain the vision of everything it is that I do and that I produce. So during that time, that's what I'm doing. And if I get a little jot, I type it in my notes on my phone. Got it. Or if I hear something in a song, I type it in my notes. And when I get out, you go through all that, and then I can write, I can flow and let things and start building on some new material, new things. So that is awesome as well.
Awesome. So, and I know a lot of times, like, people are going, well, like people in business, especially, you know, they want to show up, but they're finding it difficult because they're like, well, I don't like being on camera. I don't, you know, I don't know about this. What if, you know, there's so many other people that are doing this, you know, how
the same thing.
How am I going to do this business when there's like 50 million other people doing it? Like, so what can you tell these people to bring their confidence up, to let them know, hey,
it's 50 other 1,000 million people, but it's only one you. Nobody has your story, your struggle. Nobody knows they may know the same knowledge, but your delivery is different. Your technique is different. I had someone to tell me, think about it like this. When you go to the bread aisle, how many loaves of different types of bread and bread companies are there? Whatever is drawn to that person for that particular bread, it may have the same essentials. It could be the packaging. It could be whatever, the delivery, how they're, you know, listed on the shelf, how your abilities, your skill set is listed, how you show up, the consistency of it all, what draws them into there makes them align with you. Everybody's not going to be aligned with me. I may be too high functioning or too high spirit or too much energy for most people, but they may need somebody who's a little more meek and a little more mild. I've been trained for so long, like I said, in the military, you have no choice but to get it. If you have that issue and you have that problem and you want those desires to come to your destination, then I'm that one for you. So being in me on that bread aisle of other confidence coaches that are out there, our delivery is different. No one is going to dance you through life the way I'm going to dance you through life. No one's going to find that song to resonate with you to get your wheels turning. My action plan is going to be totally different from the next one. So when you saying, oh, well, she's doing the same thing, she ain't talking about the same thing you're talking about. Even if she's talking about knowledge is key, and you said knowledge is key, her knowledge is key is different. Her points, her bullets and points, everything is going to be different. Her delivery, her voice does not sound like you. For years, I hated my voice. It's like on camera in the church choir. I was like, I can't say that. I have a raspy voice, but it's soothing to not just older people, but for babies, understanding and being comfortable with me. Oh, well, I can't go on camera because of my skin. Okay, well, let's clear the skin up. I even sell Mary Kay. So you need some facial systems. We can get that together too. So being able to understand your body. Well, I'm two-faced. Okay, I am too. My left side don't look right with my right side, but let's gear in there. How can we play with that? How can we turn the camera? How can we accent? Well, I have, a little more stomach than the other. Okay, let's find something that's comfortable and a great pattern to make you present yourself. So it's all the things that you're saying that you can't do or you don't look right. There are alternatives. Just like in exercise, there is an alternative. I can't do a split, but I can do a half split. So it's ways of stretching, it's ways of doing things and ways of showing up. But not showing up is not the answer. Being consistent. I don't care if she's talking about Mary had a little lamb and you want to talk about Mary had a little lamb. You do the end and she does the beginning and bring it all together as one and then go back to the front. But it's your delivery. It's your technique. It's how you show up. It's your presentation. You got to be fierce. Even when you need to put some tape over like nobody's there, just be you. I love people who are truly them, who's not reading. You don't have to read, you can glance. And they teach us that the president does it all the time. Each president, they have a whole prompter. They don't write those things. Somebody else do. Understand that overview. Get in front of that camera and before you push it. Practice is key. That is another thing. That's why I said, if you learn yourself beforehand, learn yourself on camera, understanding how your facial expressions are expressed, how you're speaking, your knowledge, your intellect, your pronunciation, everything. Once you get on there, you're unstoppable. You're going to be unstoppable, but it takes practice. It
does. It does. 100% practice, repetition, like all of that.
Yeah.
My biggest fear originally to do lives was that I'm constantly either stuttering or forgetting my words. And then the biggest thing was like, oh man, I got to do makeup, and I hate the makeup thing, right? So
just be you.
But I was like, this is ugly, so I didn't do it, right? I was like, oh. And then when I have makeup on, I'm like, okay, like I gotta go. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta do like 10 million takes, and I'm just like, this isn't working, right? It's taking too much time. Like, it takes me like at least half an hour to do makeup, and really, I'm not that good at it, and so it doesn't really help.
And you wasn't comfortable because it wasn't you. It wasn't you being your authentic self. You were dressing up to be the part, but in all actuality, you just needed your knowledge, your skill set, and you, the vessel. That was it. We're not looking at it like, oh my God, Kat, her eyes, she has on the blue eyeshadow with it. We're not paying attention to, I'm paying attention because most of the time when people on live or they're doing a podcast, we're listening because we're busy doing something else. So it's not like we're sitting there like, oh my God, she got that. We're not critiquing that. I'm not. But what is, if you're shifting, if you're not, or if you're fumbling, or if you do, that's going to grab our attention. But if you head on and you're bringing it each step of the way, we understand because it's flowing. But if you're constantly, you got to fix yourself and you're not comfortable with yourself and you're fixing your clothes, that's distracting. So it's taken away, from your delivery of what it is that you're trying to actually say and to give us the value in it. This morning, I think Mallory was talking and we were on there. And I had just got off on the call and I was doing something. I was making some tea, taking all of these doggone vitamins and everything. But I heard everything that she said. And then I could go back and type. I didn't have to look at her face. So I could, chap in on the chat with her. At the same time, she was like, thank you for being here the whole time. But I'm moving and shifting, but I'm listening. So oftentimes, even if they have to go back to watch you, at least they're listening and gaining. You know what? I heard what you said today about X, Y, and Z. To be able, it flowed, it resonated with me. And that's what it is, your delivery of such. Be confident in that, in the value that you're giving.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm like, forget the makeup, forget the hair. Like, let's just go do it. Like, this is me. If you don't like it, Bye.
It was like, oh well, because that's not the person, necessarily for you. And everybody, I think, wants in this pool to be, I got to pull this one and I got to pull that one, I got to pull that one. Well, just because you have 10 there, all of them are not aligned with you. All 10 of those are not your client. It may be one that you resonated with at one time. Focus in on that. I don't care if it's one person shows up, 0 people show up, you show up like it was the masses. Your delivery does not change because the numbers are not there. That's not what you do. So even if it's one person come to see me to 100 people, how I perform and what it is that I'm actually giving my clients, and you giving those customers, if it's 1,000 of them, I'm going to give it to them just like if it's one person there. She going to get a whole show.
Yeah.
A whole show, yes.
One-on-one. What kind of value is that?
Yes, and I enjoy it because even in the smaller numbers, because you get to really be personalized. Even when I do big speaking events or different stuff like that, I have to speak. I had to speak at a funeral a couple of months ago, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm requested to speak at a funeral." So I drove and I did it, and then the music just went off, and it was just like me, just there, just up there. But I had a message for the family to let them know that this here is one of the toughest things that you're going to ever have to do. But me giving that delivery, still having to have the confidence, just on a different note, being able when to bring it, when to bring that energy. But I didn't turn that energy all the way down just because we were in a funeral, because they still needed that inspiration and that motivation to say, you still have a job here on earth to do. Now that her purpose has been filled and she's gone home, yours is not. So you have to continue on with those days and giving them. And that was like, you came in a different motion where everybody else comes. It almost seems sad, but you came and you were on it. Like, yeah, this is a celebration of life that we're given. But at the same time, this is a motivation of life for you to keep going. And being able to tap into that, something that, like I said, I ran from this voice for so long, but now I'm almost 40. It stuck with me. So the raspiness, the roughness, I embrace it now.
Yeah.
Being online, you hear all these beautiful voices or how they have. I'm way different. Yes, it is different. It has, those tenor tones in there, and I'm an alto, all of that, but it still get the same delivery. I'm still confident in me that I can, even though I'm on that bread aisle with the rest of those coaches, the rest of those confident, it's not going to change in my packaging, my presentation, what it is that I have to say is key, and the essentials that is packed within. And you just have to know that you have it. You do.
Exactly. Embrace what you have and just roll with it.
Roll with it.
Roll with it, right?
Don't
try to change and be like somebody else. No, because it's not going to work. It's maybe short term you can fake it, but in the long run, like faking it is so much harder than just to show up like you.
It is, because you know how you see those different skits and stuff on Facebook. And one night I was up, I was like, this is the same content as this other couple. They doing the same skit of running. They have the numbers, but after a while, people start to notice. We want to know about you guys. We don't want to know like the skit that you're doing because they're doing it. We want to see like your real actual data honing in on and the things you really have to say. We really want to see that. And that's when I learned with other people too, even in coaching, because I pay attention to so much. You can't be that person. What works for them is not going to work for you, because if you're copying what they're doing, eventually you're not going to be able to keep up. You got to come up with your own content. It gets tiring playing follow the leader. Sometimes you have to lead. So how are you going to lead? What's your vision? What's your purpose? And that's something that I tell my client. That's the one question. What is your path to purpose? What is your desire so we can get you to that destination? What do you mean? When you go into a car lot, when you go into a furniture store, they ask you your colors, the fabric. They want to know your whole desire, because they're going to get ready to give you this whole presentation, let you want to sit in the seat. They want you to, take it home and figure it out, all of that, because they want to be able to bring that desire to your destination. And that's how you have to be in your business with your client, bringing their desires to life, to a reality. So when they're listening, they may not be saying a lot, but listen to what they're not saying, but also listen to what they're saying so that you can put two to two together so that you can bring them that action plan so that you can be able to stand up and say, I chimed in on that. She didn't even know, and I did. And I presented this. That's a boost of confidence.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
your effective communication skill, which one is listening, you just utilize. Yes.
Yeah, if you can listen and provide, you know, what maybe reading between the lines is what it
Yes,
is,
you have
right?
to read between the lines
Yeah,
all the
if you're
time.
able to do that, what a boost of confidence when you know your client didn't even see that and you're like, hey.
They're like, oh my God, like you're a true visionary when it comes to this. And it's like, yes, because you're saying so much, but you're not saying enough, but you're saying enough for me to be able to say, I got it. I know exactly what it is that you need. Being able to shake off all right now, I think everybody's carrying burdens around of others or this misconception of I'm not enough or I just don't know what else to do. I'm just going to stop because she's getting all the spotlight. Even in the music industry, you know, you have those one hit wonders. You may have a hit, it's not going to last. So, but consistency, the one person in the music industry so far in the last 20 years that kept up is Beyonce. She's steady studying something to be able. I'm not a Beehive person. My sister is. I'm not a Beehive. You know, I'm not one of those big super fans, but I like some of the music. But you have to give it to her in that aspect of going back to research, knowledge, keeping up with the times, staying consistent through different generational changes with all this new stuff going on. And she's almost 40. So different generations are being born into. They're like, who? And they know who she is because they know what she stands for. They know that she can have a good time and she can be able to bring everybody together. So if you don't want to be that one hit wonder, the knowledge and the understanding and the education that you got on your said subject in your field, in your expertise now, you got to continue to evolve and grow every day, every single day to bring it. And that's the thing when people saying, but we already, you know, I already did that. You still have to keep up. You can't just stop because she got the prize or the big client for this particular area or for this expertise today. It's another 30 days. It's another 24 hours. It's another 7 days a week. It's another 365 to be for the taking. What about those? So you have to think about all of it as longevity. If you want to be here for longevity, for consistency is the key.
Yes, consistency is literally the number one key. Yes. Right? You could have nothing else. But if you're consistent,
I don't care if you talk about biscuits and molasses and how the day is going, something, just something, how it, you know, rises into your business of, you know, the thriveness of the hunger of it all or something. Just bring it together, but you're being you, because we can use analogies. We can use metaphors. Figure out your funny bone. If you're funny, bring that. You see these people who doing all these makeup tutorials for all these hours that I don't know how to do. I don't know how to do that. But they tell crime stories. Even though there is how many makeup artists in the world? It's a million of them. But one lady has learned how to tell crime stories to get you sitting there like, wow, I didn't know that. Why she's doing makeup? Another one know how to tell, you know, just be visual, bringing unicorns their face of being, because all this different stuff. So you have to figure out if you're going to be transparent. What is key for you? What is your delivery going to be like? How are you going to gain that attention to be able to be in the masses on that bread aisle? How are you going to stand out? And that is key.
Just be real.
Just be real.
Just be real, right? Yes. Like my shirt says, stay real. Can you see that?
I always love all your graphic tees. You always have on a graphic tee. That is key.
You like this one?
Yes. I love it with the bow and everything. And see, that brings out your funny bone. You and your graphic tees and being able to hone in on that to be able to bring that to, like, today's graphic tee is brought to you by Kat with the chat. I mean, it comes and just flows. And people are like, really? You just came up with that? I had a friend that sells paparazzi. And she was like, but yeah, but when you're selling something, how do you engage in getting them? Make it fierce. Put that jewelry on and let them know. Today's event is brought to you by the spring collection of 2022, where you're going to be how to be fierce and alluring but desirable at the same time. She was like, and you cooked all that up in one breath? Yes, because you got to be quick on your feet in this business. For me, that's who I am. I'm quick on my feet to be able to put those words together, to be able to be that fierceness. That's just who I am. So that's me being transparent. You with your graphic tees today is cat with the chat. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going with. And so when you do that, that brings in, I'm like, man, I like her. Like she has this funny vibe about her, but she brings a smile, you know, in the beginning of all her broadcasts on Thursday. Like it's the light of my day in the afternoon. You never know. Why do you think all these guys come with this silly? You remember when we had what was the guys with those skateboards and doing all that crazy stuff? You know that people's like, don't nobody want to see that, but they did. And then they had a crazy story behind it, and look where they went. It blew up. Tony Hawk and them with bikes and just everything. You have to be authentic with yourself, and once you like that, people will like you for you. Just being them. Crazy every day doing pranks. That's what they did, and they made millions off of it. So you figure out what is you, what is key, how you're so transparent, and bring it. That's what you have to do.
Funny thing is, my husband's like, you're not going out in public with that shirt, hey? I'm like, I don't have to go out in public. Is online public?
Oh my God. And that's the thing. He's like, really? Oh gosh, like when the kids
like, you know what? People might not, this might not be for everyone. But if you know me, they're like, it's totally you.
Yes.
Right? And no one's like, what is she wearing? You know? Like, honestly, I think people will just be like,
wear your personality.
And totally you.
Oftentimes now, like we see kids, which I just love teenagers and kids, little ones, we see, I'm like, oh my God, my son, I'm like, but you got on a red sock and you got a yellowish, so you, the 7-year-old, but I let him, because it's the expression of who he is, what he wants to actually do, and expression of himself, his personality, and I let him be. And then some days he's like, no, I'm not wearing this. Okay, we'll go with that. But on those days that he wants to be able to wear your personality, if that's how you feel with multiple colors, then we're going to wear this. Then let's just go to Lowe's or let's go to K. Rogers at 6 a.m. when ain't nobody there. We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. But he's comfortable with it. So let's flow with that. So yes.
Okay. So my question with that is that personality or is that laziness?
It could be a little bit of both as well with him.
For my son, it's
on his days
that cat don't care enough to like keep looking for that matching sock.
Yeah. He's like, no, not doing it. Not doing it. I'm like, oh God. But then that became a thing with all kids. I was like, you parents are going to it became the mismatch became a thing. And I just like, okay, well, they win. Just became a thing.
You know what? Yeah. Don't care what other people think and you'll be just fine.
And I think that's the thing, because for so long, over the generations, it always had to be what other people thought growing up. And now in this generation, they're very expressive and they want to just be them. Mm-hmm. To be able to say, who cares? I'm going to wear what I want to do. I want to be who I want to be. Actually have. And so now being more transparent with them, even with my daughter, because she went through a phase. I'm like, if she don't take this hoodie off, oh my God, the same blue hoodie. I'm like, can you wear something else? And then I started to see during this school year, her style changed. She started looking at Pinterest. I'm like, she on Pinterest. Okay. So then it started being a little more chic. I'm like, oh, right. And it was more dressing up more so than down. So she had to find her way. And that's the same way we are in business. You have to find your way. You have to figure out what works for you, how. But it's called going through the transition, the changes. You have to learn to embrace change, because nothing is going to remain the same the way that it has been for the last 40 years that we can see. We get now got computers. Before we didn't use them every day. Now you have to have some type of electronic device somewhere doing something all day long. So learning to embrace that change and not being that lady at the, at the job and say, I've been here for 25 years and we just never use that. And I'm just going to be here and I'm going to do it the old school way. And then when the pandemic hit, she had to learn, did I have that knowledge? I don't even know computers now. Now I got to be on here every day. And now she's wishing that she took the time to actually learn. So every day, my advice to everyone is, even especially to women, brush up on a skill or add an addition that you have to learn. Read daily. I don't care if it's reading the back of a milk. I don't care what it is. Read something that you don't normally read to gain more knowledge and understanding so that you know. To be able to get those brain and those neurons and electrons and proton, all that stuff in science that we learn so that you can bring it more steadfast in your business. Yes.
And it helps you build that confidence. With more knowledge
is key.
Comes more confidence.
It does.
Right? You can converse with people and be like, oh yeah, I just learned something new today. Did you know about it?
Like, be able to have those hard conversations, even if you're still working a 9 to 5, but you're building your business, being able to sit at the boardroom table and not just be like, oh, I'm like a lost, just a lost little lamb, but you're actually being able to hone in on the conversation and feel present more. And you're not just existing, but you're actually there in reality to be able to yeah, I was a part of this. I added more knowledge. I added, a paragraph to, the said discussion that we were actually having. And so that is good to actually have.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes. Awesome.
Yes.
Now, is there anything else that you think we need to know in terms of building up our confidence? Like, what are your top 3 tips for
the top 3 tips that I would actually give to you beautiful ladies and gentlemen as well, because they need it as well. Learning yourself. Knowledge is key. Brushing up. Always chiming in with others, spending time with yourself, but also having those hard conversations of being transparent, taking constructive criticism, because it helps you to grow. It's not to tear you down, it's to make you aware of what changes it needs to be in your business. So if you have somebody on the outside looking in, or even a client or a customer, that is key with it. So just being the first step is learning you. Don't be afraid to go get in the mirror like, I just hate looking at myself. I know. Spend time with yourself. Push the button, turn on something, learn everything, every expression, how your teeth bite down. So when you get on camera, nobody can tell you, well, it looks like her teeth was not aligned with this. I already know. So when they come for you, you're already knowing the things that are wrong with you. But what they cannot take from you is knowledge. The things that your skills, they cannot take that from you, because you let it flow. They be like, now she may not been up to par with her eyeshadow that was blue, but she hit some, some tasty points today on key of being able to be there. And I took that and I understood. So they're going to say thank you for that. So being able to show up for yourself by learning you, being knowledge, because you're gaining more knowledge, and knowledge is key. Understanding how to take constructive criticism, but also being supportive of others to be able to chime in, to have that conversation, those hard conversations about your growth. So those are the first tips to be able to build that confidence. So when you push that button, it's game on. You're on that bread aisle, but now we just got to get you to the forefront where we're going to push you to the front more so you're more visible.
I love that, taking the constructive criticism bit.
Yes.
I think sometimes it's really hard, for me, it is a little bit hard, but I absolutely love constructive criticism, right? Because it's not somebody that's trying to attack you. They're telling you because they want you to be better, right? So, it's okay to be like, oh, like, be hard on yourself, but get out of that quick. Get out of that quick.
The military taught me that, because we have evaluations every quarter, every yearly, your annuals, all of that. And in that little box, and you're graded, you can get a 3.5 or a 4.0, but you still have that paragraph. It's going to tell you about yourself. You still have those check marks. I learned that at an early age. That is constructive criticism. So even in your business, you evaluate it. Reviews, comments, everything that people say. Take that and ask that person, well, what made you feel that way? What do you think that I need to add or subtract? It's okay to ask the questions, the hard questions. They're not necessarily telling you, well, this sucks because, X, Y, and Z, unless you had something back. I didn't like this because you did, or they just say, well, I didn't like it because, you have this nose ring. That's a whole different stuff. That's not constructive criticism.
No.
We're talking about what you're actually delivering and what you're bringing. So in that aspect of things, chime in with that person. Say, hey, I saw that you were on, one of my lives, or you made a statement about this. Do you mind if I chat with you about the comment that you made? It's not being nasty. You just wanted to gain insight. And a lot of time, most time, we're so quick to bite back. But I think you have to evaluate that situation a little more to gain more insight. Then you can say what it is that needs to be said. But just understand and take that, that constructive criticism just a little bit more, but not so to heart where it's detrimental, but it's a learning tool. That's what it is.
Thank them for the feedback. And then, get into knowing why this feedback came about.
Why is this feedback like that? Yes.
Yeah. And learn and see if there is some sort of improvement.
Can be
and if there was, if it was some of those, there are internet trolls who just are negative Nancy's and just like to be, Debbie Downers on everyone and rain on everyone's,
And you'll be able to weed those out because
ignore those.
It's vague. Yeah, it's very vague. It's not necessarily, but most of the time, most people who give in constructive criticism, they'll give you they'll give you the issue and say, hey, but you may want to try X, Y, and Z. And half of the time they do that. So yes.
Yes, there's a lot of really great people out there who honestly are just trying to help you. I've done that a couple of times, whether people take that, however they want to take that, right? But I'm putting it out there trying to help you, not to, tell you to like stop what you're doing. It's just a little bit of constructive feedback.
Yes.
To help you grow. So I don't like to rain on people's parade, even though it's not my jam, like, it's I don't think it's right to just be like, hey, this sucks, go home. Like,
and to do, yes. Oh man. But thank you so much for this day. And I'm glad that I was, had that high energy and I was, back into effect and I was feeling much better to do so. So that is amazing.
I'm so glad. As moms, we don't have an option sometimes but to show up. You've committed, you just show up no matter what.
If I'm committed and I already said, like I may was a day early, hey, but I was ready to roll. I was ready to roll, sick and all. That's just something because your word is your bond. And that's another thing I tell people. If I ever give you my word on something that I'm doing, no matter what it is, I don't care if it's in the middle of a rainstorm and I got to stand outside to try to get some reception. I gave you me because I'm confident in my ability. I don't have to be confident in what it is that I'm presenting as far as my outer shell, the vessel. But as long as I'm giving the delivery and I showed up, that is what is key. And so I love that. So thank you for this opportunity today to have this chat with Kat. Yes, and the graphic tees.
Stay real, my friends. Stay real.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for helping us build up our confidence and just show up for us. Nobody else.
Show up for yourself. Show up for yourself always. Always.
Awesome. Thank you. And if anybody needs help further with showing up and just being more confident, she's got some confidence to loan you.
Over there in Strength and Seduction, Walking into Unshakable Confidence. That is my group, but we're also doing some major changes. The time that I was actually down, being sick and with the kids for the last couple of weeks, those wheels were turning. So we got some diva mamas and some diva things that are coming into foreplay with name changes, with more added to the list of things that we're going to actually offer to us mamas because we need it. I realized that even though I am a confidence coach, being in confidence, you still can lose it. And during these last 2 weeks of being sick, that it was bringing me down. So being able to let you know to stay steadfast in every situation, struggle, or whatever the case may be, that's what I am revamping, redoing to reset for the coming into this last quarter. That we're going to be, finishing out this third quarter, but we're coming into that last to be able to finish everything because next month is October. So we're going to be coming into that last quarter to finish strong for the year. And a lot of changes. If you feel that you're going through that transition and that change, step into it. It's okay. It is time. That means that you have evolved and the transition is needed. So step into it. So yes. So thank you so much.
Make sure you put that the link to your group in the comments so that anybody who would like to get in touch with you can and learn from you can. Because we can all do what we want to do, what we dream of. You just got to show up.
You have to show up. You have to show up. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Kat. Thank you. And you have a great, great day. Oh, and your weekend, a long weekend. Happy weekend to everyone. Yes.
Yes. Totally forgot about that.
Soon.
Okay.
Yes.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.